who has told the world that I have packed the courts with so-called MPP judges. Not only are these concepts new, they are also extremely dangerous.
And tonight, the Ghana Bar Association taking on President Akufo-Addo for taking undue advantage of the 2023 Bar Conference and turning it into a campaign platform when he told Ghanaians to vote against John Mahama in the upcoming general elections.
The only aspect I have a little concern about is going ahead to urge people to more or less vote against him on that. I don't think that it was proper for him to use the platform for that, because condemning what President Mahama said, many more people have already done it.
We have the latest, and we're live in Cape Coast, where the Attorney General says former President John Mahama is ill-informed about the processes of appointing judges.
For one to express the desire to appoint mainly members of one's political party to the judiciary, if given the mandate to govern the nation again, clearly indicates an unfamiliarity with the process of appointment of judges.
And Top Story, as always, is brought to you by Vodafone. Further together, I am Blessed Suga. And tonight, the Ghana Bar Association is taking on President Akufo-Addo, citing him for taking undue advantage of the 2023 Bar Conference and turning the platform into a campaign one when he told Ghanaians to vote against former President John Dramani Mahama in the upcoming general elections in 2024. Well, earlier today, the president chose to settle scores with John Mahama, who had claimed a couple of days ago that he, President Akufo-Addo, was parking the courts with judges supposedly aligned with the governing side, which is the New Patriotic Party. Well, according to John Mahama, he intends to balance the courts once he's elected into office. First, listen to the former President John Mahama make these claims.
The current president has done, he's appointed the biggest number of judges onto the bench. It's more than 80 towards 100 and counting. He's packed the courts, and we know that they've packed the courts because they want to avoid accountability after they have left office. And so all manner of people who are known to have been partisan, to have been executives of their party, who are in the legal profession, are being leapfrogged into the superior courts and other places. And so we must be prepared as NDC legal persons to also go onto the bench so that we can balance out, the judiciary.
Well, the very comments by John Dramani Mahama, which is stoking debates, and just when the opportunity presented itself at the 2023 Bar Conference, which is underway in the Central Region, President Akufo-Addo minced no words in leading the onslaught against former President John Mahama, describing his comments as irresponsible and also dangerous.
In the overwhelming number of justices designate to the Supreme Court, that approval has been given on a bipartisan basis. You can count on the fingers of a hand the number of justices designate whose approval meant less than unanimous consent. I've gone into this matter in some detail because of a new concept that has been recently introduced into our public discourse by no less a public figure than the fourth president of the Fourth Republic, the perennial NDC presidential candidate, John Dramani Mahama, who has told the world that I have packed the courts with so-called MPP judges, and that one of the key purposes of a putative NDC victory in 2024 will be to enable him balance the courts with so-called NDC judges. Not only are these concepts of, quote, MPP and, quote, NDC judges new in our public discourse, they are also extremely dangerous and represent the most brazen attack on the independence of the judiciary by an allegedly responsible politician of the Fourth Republic. They provide another reason, if more were needed, why right-thinking citizens should ensure the defeat in 2024 of the man whom the first special prosecutor identified as government official number one in the still unresolved Airbus bribery scandal.
And these very statements were made by the president in Cape Coast, where my colleague Richard Kojinyako is joining us from, monitoring, of course, that 2023 GBA Conference. And Richard, the next speaker to take on the former president after these comments were made was the Attorney General and, of course, Minister for Justice, Godfred Yeboah-Dame. We'll be getting more from Richard Kojinyako shortly, who's also, of course, monitored the entire proceedings for today. But listen to the Attorney General also come after the President to make and reinforce the statement by the President that the comments by the former President John Dramani Mahama are founded.
For one to express the desire to appoint mainly members of one's political party to the judiciary, if given the mandate to govern the nation again, clearly indicates an unfamiliarity with the process of appointment of judges. Whilst acknowledging the constitutional duty of the President to appoint all judges in the country, it is imperative to note that the President does not appoint judges to any court in a vacuum or in power in that regard. Each appointment onto the judiciary is preceded first by an indication of a vacancy by the Judicial Council. Without a vacancy, the President cannot appoint. We cannot in this regard rule out the coincidence of situations. If a vacancy arises, it falls for whichever president is in office to formally fill same by appointing after the exhaustion of all constitutionally mandated procedures. Thus, the notion that the president can just appoint any number of judges that he desires in order to neutralize, in quotes, the perceived coloration of the judiciary is incorrect, grossly misleading. Further, the participation of the Judicial Council as well as the Council of State and Parliament, where necessary, in the processes of appointing a judge stipulated in Article 144 of the Constitution cannot be ignored. The President also does not have the power to empanel any court in the country. Respectfully, a consequence of the government's policy to expand and improve infrastructure of the judiciary through the construction of over 100 high court buildings around the country and the Court of Appeal complex in Kumasi, which has 24-bedroom bungalows, has been the need to appoint and post judges to some of these courts. It may well be that the criticism the sitting president enjoys or receives from certain quarters for the alleged appointment of many judges to the Superior Court is a price the government is paying for improving access to justice and improving judicial infrastructure. It has perhaps become necessary to examine critically the number of appointments made onto the highest court of Ghana, the Supreme Court, since 2009. The record shows 7 appointments to fill 7 vacancies on the Supreme Court between 2009 and 2016. I take note that there have been 15 appointments to the Supreme Court between 2018 and 2023. However, a careful scrutiny of those appointments shows that they actually filled only 6 vacancies. Positions held by Justices Mafusi, Lena Megache, Professor Koti, and Clemens Foliniega, all of them being appointees of President Akufo-Addo, became vacant in the course of the same president on account of either death or retirement. And indeed, another justice appointed by President Akufo-Addo will also retire this year, Justice Mariam Owusu. With such vacancies, fresh appointments have to be made. It is important that we remain resolute in our defense of the judiciary at all times. Ghana has gained a worldwide reputation for its justice system and legal services. The justice system, of which the bar is an integral part, is the glue that holds the society together. Decisions of our Superior Courts are cited in cases in other jurisdictions. Our courts are recognized throughout the world for their excellence, openness to innovate. For those who cannot come to terms with significant defeats in the court of law, it ought to be understood that the courts administer justice according to law. The court, as I always say, is not a mercy chamber to serve justice based on affection or sympathy.
And this very invitation by the Attorney General was, first of all, honored by the Ghana Bar Association's Yao Boafo-Champon, who's the president of the group, describing, the comments of the former president as baseless in terms of the appointments to the bench, which is being made in consideration to party affiliation. Richard Kojinyako also monitored that speech by the president of the Ghana Bar Association. He's joining us now. Richard, first of all, the position of the bar on the statements by John Dramani Mahama.
Well, so their position was that comment shouldn't have come from someone who has been the president of the country. They feel that it was not properly placed, and so it was almost irresponsible comment. And so that is what the position of the Ghana Bar Association is. But I have been interacting with some of them, and they equally also say that the comment by the president was also unfortunate, and this was not the right platform for the president to have campaigned, quote unquote, for the NPP. And so that is what the position of the Ghana Bar Association has been.
It is worrisome when members of the Ghana Bar Association itself join the chorus of ignorant partisan populists to denigrate the image of the legal profession and judiciary. Why should we allow politics to divide us? Why should we subject ourselves to the dictates and wishes of politicians and sacrifice the nobility of our profession on the altar of divisive partisan politics? Last year, we were told that unanimous judgments mean that there is no scholarship and independence of thought in judicial reasoning. And in the process, Supreme Court judges were referred to in derogatory terms as unanimous SC. We even had the immediate past Chief Justice being described as the worst Chief Justice ever, and that lawyers of a particular political tradition were discriminated against when they appeared before judges. As if that was not enough, this year, we are being told that the requirement to be appointed to the District Court bench, the Circuit Court bench, the High Court, the Court of Appeal, and the Supreme Court is by being a member of the political party in power, and that this policy will be replicated in the event of a change in government.
So that's the initial position of the Ghana Bar Association. However, they are equally concerned about the statements of the president when he decided to take undue advantage, in their view, of the 2023 Bar Conference to ask Ghanaians to vote against John Dramani Mahama, PRO for the Ghana Bar Association, right after the statements were made, clarify their position.
President Akufo-Addo also said, even though he said President Mahama didn't do well and all that, I admit, fine, that was all. But the only aspect I have a little concern about is going ahead to urge people to more or less vote against him on that. I don't think that it was proper for him to use the platform for that, because condemning what President Mahama said, many more people have already done it. The Ghana Bar Association too has done it, but to go ahead to say that because of what he said, people should more or less vote against him. I think that, to me, amounted to doing some political campaign on our platform, which to me is not acceptable.
And many legal brains within the National Democratic Congress are beginning to react to the comments by the president, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, lashing out at John Dramani Mahama, the NDC's candidate going into the 2024 elections. Mr. Amaliba, thank you for your time. He is Abraham Amaliba, former director of legal affairs for the party. And you've been also listening into the statements of the president when he says that John Mahama's pronouncements against the court could even create the grounds for which Ghanaians should vote him out. You might lose the 2024 elections if the calls by the president are heeded. Hello, Mr. Maliba. It appears we've lost Abraham Amaliba, who's the former director of legal affairs for the National Democratic Congress, joining us. Lawyer Amaliba, if you can hear me, I was just talking about the statements by the president, the point that you might lose the 2024 elections if Ghanaians indeed go with the opinion of the president. Lawyer Amaliba, can you hear me? we're having some challenges connecting with lawyer Abraham Amaliba there. Probably some network challenges that we're having there. I'm sure that we'll just rework the lines and try as much as possible to hear him a bit more clearly. But for those of you who missed out on that, the Ghana Bar Association also raising similar concerns with what it is that former president, the president Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo has said, and also raising concerns about the president's statement which was made today. The fact that John Dramani Mahama should be voted out of power simply because of his comments against the judiciary.
In the overwhelming number of justices designate to the Supreme Court, that approval has been given on a bipartisan basis. You can count on the fingers of a hand the number of justices designate whose approval met less than unanimous consent. I've gone into this matter in some detail because of a new concept that has been recently introduced into our public discourse by no less a public figure than the fourth president of the Fourth Republic, the perennial NDC presidential candidate, John Dramani Mahama, who has told the world that I have packed the courts with so-called MPP judges, and that one of the key purposes of a putative NDC victory in 2024 will be to enable him balance the courts with so-called NDC judges.
And fortunately, lawyer Abraham Amaliba is joining us back on the telephone lines now. Lawyer, your concerns about the statements made by the president? Hear me? The comments the president was making earlier today, I'm just asking if you have any initial reactions to this. We seem to be having some challenges connecting with lawyer Abraham Amaliba, who's the former director of legal affairs for the National Democratic Congress, also pointing out what his concerns are, which we'll be bringing to you shortly. But we'll also, of course, get some more reactions on Newsnight, which is coming up shortly. We take a quick break. When we return, we'll tell you why the NDC is not enthused about the statement.
Ever visited a shop, picked a whole basket of provisions, toiletries, and very essential things you need, battled a long queue to finally pay, only to be told you can't pay to a merchant number the way that thing they pay, but with Vodafone Cash, there is no problem. Now on Vodafone Cash, you can pay all merchants on all networks. Easy peasy. Aye straight. Aye direct. Aye sharp. From your Vodafone Cash wallet to any merchant number on other networks. So whether you are buying provisions or fuel, medication or food, whatever the service or need, just pay conveniently from Vodafone Cash to any merchant number. Simply dial *110# to make payment to merchants on other networks today.
Vodafone. Welcome to Belmonte, where luxury meets comfort. If you're in the market for a home that combines class, convenience, and comfort, then look no further than Belmonte. Belmonte is located in the prime East Legon area of Lagos Avenue. The Belmonte stylish apartment offers first-class luxury and cutting-edge finishing. Whether you are looking for an executive studio suite or a cozy one-bedroom apartment, a spacious two-bedroom apartment, or a custom villa, we have you covered. But that's not all. Belmonte offers a range of top-notch facilities to relax and keep you entertained. So why wait? Take the first step towards your dream home. Sign up for our 3-year payment plan and own your property today. Contact us at 0204-343-011 or 0204-343-015 to learn more. Belmonte is developed by CPL Developers.
This is my about the magic behind your favorite apps? How about the
Welcome to Tema, the industrial gem of Ghana. Attention all dreamers, investors and home seekers. Mark your calendar for the next clinic of the EcoBank Joy News Habitat Fair. Imagine waking up to stunning waterfront views, basking in the warmth sun, and embracing the comfort of a home perfectly tailored to your needs. Discover a range of housing options that cater to every budget and lifestyle. From sleek contemporary designs to elegant traditional architecture, the EcoBank Joy News Habitat Fair has it all. But wait, there's more. This fair isn't just about buying a home. It's also about enhancing the spaces we live in. Get financial solutions to acquire furniture for that beautiful home, electronic devices, and more. Our dedicated team of real estate experts and banking partners are here to guide you every step of the way, making your journey to home ownership smooth and stress-free. Don't miss out on this incredible opportunity to make your dreams come true. Join us at the 10th edition of the EcoBank Joy News Habitat Fair, where possibilities are limitless.
The EcoBank Joy News Habitat Fair is in partnership with EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank, and the Planned City Extension Project, Rent to Own, and sponsored by Elegant Homes and General Constructions Limited, where quality meets value. Global Lighting, your solution to quality lighting. Syntex Tanks, Air Strong, Air Tough. Springfield Estate, where dreams are built. Clifton Homes, beautiful homes, wise investment. Visit cliftonghana.com today. The Kensington Heights, Airport City, by HDG Homes Limited, a new benchmark in luxury living in Kumasi. Visit thekensingtonheights.com. Virtual Security Africa, complete security solutions. DBS Roofing, your roof expert. Virtual InfoSec Africa, security solutions by design. And Saint Gobain Weber Jipro Chloroplace Isover, making the world a better home.
And thanks for staying with us here on the Top Story on Joy 99.7 FM. For those of you who missed the earlier sound by the president, the Ghana Bar Association is raising issues with the president for asking Ghanaians to vote against John Mahama in the upcoming 2024 general elections, when, of course, he had the opportunity to address the 2023 Bar Conference. The background to this is John Mahama had claimed a couple of days ago that the courts were being packed by judges supposedly aligned with the governing NPP. Richard Konyako is still with us. He has monitored the entire proceeding for today. Richard, any comments from the Chief Justice on this?
Well, so for the Chief Justice, he used the symbolic elephant and then indicated that the elephant, people have various perceptions, and when they come face to face with the elephant, some feel that the elephant is a ball. Others also may feel that the elephant is a cow. Others may also feel that it is something else. But it behooves all of us to join in making the judiciary work. He says that the integrity that people have been clamoring for depend on every one of the people that have gathered there. And so that is what the Chief Justice has been saying. He has been calling on them to be extremely professional to safeguard the interest of the judiciary.
And that's Richard Kujinyako. Richard, thanks for the update and the perspective we're getting from the courts now. Let's speak to lawyer Abraham Maliba, former director of legal affairs for the NDC. Lawyer Maliba, the president says your candidate should be voted against simply because he's speaking against the courts. Lawyer Maliba, I hope you can hear me. And you'd have to unmute if you're to make the points with us on Zoom. And we'll be getting Lawyer Maliba for you shortly. Let's also get the perspective of the Ghana Bar Association. Xavier Kuche, who's with us, he speaks for the Ghana Bar Association. And Mr. Kuche, now that you've made your points clear that the president should not have turned, the bar as a conference into a campaign platform, are you likely to issue a statement or perhaps write to the president expressing your displeasure about this development?
I don't think so, because the statements would have been circulated through a medium like yours. So once he's granted interviews to media houses, I think that clears the air. Because as I said in the afternoon, it's rather unfortunate that it happened. We never invited him to come and campaign, but to make statements such as vote against former president and linking him to supposed allegations about Airbus and all that, that was not what we expected, and we don't accept that. We are not going to allow anybody, no matter the person, who the person is, to use our platform to campaign for his party.
But when you invited the president, obviously you should expect, knowing that these are matters topical in the news, that the president was indeed going to comment on it.
No, there was no way anybody should expect us to know this. You send an invite to a guest with your team. You don't have, you are not part of the speechwriters of the guest. You don't have the opportunity to preview the speech of the guest. How then could you have known that you were coming to say this? Because it would really be out of line to say that a guest should let you have his speech in advance. No. So I think that you have to be fair to us. We never invited him to come and campaign, but unfortunately it happened. But we are condemning that. Yes, he was right in condemning President Mahama for making such statements about appointments to the bench. We really condemn that. But for him to go ahead to say that based on that and other practice, it should be voted against, I think that is totally unacceptable and condemn it.
But are you not shooting yourselves in the foot when on one leg we find the Bar Association condemn equally former President John Dramani Mahama, and then we find your group again taking on President Akufo-Addo?
Yes, the difference is this. The statement made by President Mahama relative to the alleged packing of the court by President Akufo-Addo with people he described, President Mahama described as NPP-aligned judges, is about the institution of the judiciary, which whether he's in opposition or he's sitting as a president, he will have to respect because they are democratic institutions. Here is a case where, and when the President Akufo-Addo condemns him, we support him on that. But to say that because of that, he's going to make, he actually has tried to make capital out of political capital out of it by urging people to vote against President Mahama. That is what we don't like. That is not in sync with us. That must be condemned. He should have ended up at the condemnation on what President Mahama said about the judicial appointment. That would have been excellent. But to go beyond that point, urging people to vote against him just because of that, and even importing issues about investigations on the alleged Airbus scandal, no, we are not going to allow that. Not today, not tomorrow.
Okay. Lawyer Maliba is still with us. Counsel, can you hear us now?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay. Apologies for that technical hiccup there, but your brief comments as we wrap up.
I think that the Bar Conference has become a political jamboree for MPP-inclined lawyers and state officials, including the president, to attack NDC-inclined lawyers and its leadership. The NDC lawyers pay dues to the Ghana Bar Association. The Bar uses the dues to organize a program such as the Bar Conference, which is a non-political platform, and allow MPP-inclined lawyers, together with the president, to use that platform and attack leadership of the NDC, including the lawyers. And I think the Bar should take the fall for this. The Bar has misconducted itself for far too long in these matters, and I think that I don't want to be charitable at all. The responses they gave to former President Mahama, look at the two. Former President Mahama used a political platform, NDC lawyers, we didn't run away from it, to make comments and requested that lawyers of the NDC should join the bench. Why would the Bar be the one to be given platform to the president for that for him to respond to the former president? And I think that the Bar has failed, and they must begin to do a U-turn and ensure that what the Bar stood for is what this current Bar will do.
And I'm grateful, gentlemen. We've run out of time, unfortunately. That's it for Top Story. Next is Newsline.